Good morning, everybody. As always, welcome to the channel and thanks for stopping in. My name is Rich. I'm the channel host, and normally we're talking about building our small drone businesses and our small imaging businesses. And right now, I just wrapped up from last weekend's flights our latest presentation for our Solstice Ridge project. So we put a lot of additional effort into sharing information with our clients that's in an easy to use format. So as you can see on screen, we've got our latest Solstice project, December 10th, 2023. And we include a video time lapse and a video pass through of the newest construction going on. We also do 2D and 3D modeling. So here is an orthomosaic before and after showing the changes in the site every 2 weeks. In addition to that, there's our 3D site model that's hosted on Sketchfab. And then finally, we do a still image gallery going through the latest changes on the location. We also do include other things. Occasionally, we'll do 360 virtual tours. We'll do additional slideshows and other content that our clients ask of us. Now, one of the things that we were asked several months ago about was an interesting presentation that we came across online. And let's go ahead. I'm going to change views here. So let's go ahead and flip right over to the larger screen where we're seeing everything. And several months ago, one of my clients had pointed out an interesting meeting presentation they saw on the Prescott City website. So I just pulled this one up really quick. And this is a very interesting presentation about some roadway expansion here in Prescott on Route 89. And the folks who pulled this presentation together did a fantastic job. So I was asked by one of my clients, can you make something like this? And as a matter of fact, we can. There are several ways to do it. We can utilize Kuula, which is what we usually use for doing 360 virtual tours. But there's another tool out there, and that tool is called 3DVista, and we're just starting to dig into working with 3DVista. And that's what today's video is about. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of another tool for presenting your information and data to your drone and imaging clients. So they directed me over to this page, interesting little menu page here, and we have different clickable items, and we can also arrow on over to the next part of the presentation. And this presentation has a video player built into it. So at its core, it's got a video player built into it, but we can also maneuver in the space. This is a 360 virtual tour that's being used as a presentation platform. How cool is that? So months ago, I had done something on YouTube about this, and I said that we'd be looking into it further. Well, since the Black Friday sales event came up just a couple of weeks ago, we were waiting to purchase 3DVista to do similar tours to this, and also to allow for 3D applications in the tours, video in the tours, dynamic HDR setups in the tours. And over the next few weeks, as we're digging into 3DVista, we're going to bring you along to show you some of the samples of what can be done with it. So a 360 virtual tour where I can click over to the next station and watch the next video that's been assembled on this particular project. Incredibly cool. So let's go ahead and minimize this. So in answer to my client, I said, yes, we're going to be doing this soon. And by the way, the Black Friday sales event was 10% off 3DVista. 3DVista is normally $500, so it was $50 off, which basically negated sales tax for me. And secondly, just to let you know, we're not working for them. We're actually learning about it ourselves. And one of the big things to know is that 3DVista is a desktop virtual tour solution. So there are a lot of virtual tours out there. A lot of them are cloud-based. We use Kuula. A lot of people use Cloud Pano. A lot of people use Theasys. But the 3DVista virtual tour application is desktop, where you can share it to the cloud. You can share it to a website, or you can export Windows and Apple ready presentations. So I can actually export and give somebody a thumb drive, and they can run the presentation from their thumb drive. So for folks who sometimes have bad network, we can provide them another way to look at their virtual tours. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on 3DVista Virtual Tour. Now, this is not a full tutorial on this thing. This program has a lot of depth. There's a lot going on beyond just doing 360s. So we're going to be putting together a new class series on our utilization of 3D Vista in our testing and our practice. Now, the first screen that we get is our virtual tours. What tours do we have right now? And I had done a test virtual tour for our Patreon group, who got to see a lot more about 3D Vista just a couple of days ago on our regular Zoom meetings. And so we started them down the path, and we'll be doing additional videos over on our Patreon group, working through 3D Vista projects and making some higher end projects that might appeal to your higher end clients. Right now, what I want to do is just make a new tour. So I'm going to do a new project, and immediately 3D Vista has a lot of different skins for us. And these skins it's a layout style. So if I look at the bottom thumbnail, and by the way, we'll be zooming in and out on this screen because 3D Vista's text is tiny. I mean, mind-numbingly tiny how small the text is on here on my BenQ monitor. So we'll be zooming in and out to show you different items, but let's go ahead and zoom this back. And you can see now we've got forward, backward, up and down. We've got play buttons in here. So that's one of their many styles. I'm going to keep this super simple. We're going to go with a basic skin. We're going to do an empty style, and we're not adding any additional color. So I'm going to hit select on this, and we are off and running. Now, as you can see, we have several options. So it's not just about 360 images. We also have create a photo album. We can import videos to this. We can import 360 video to this. I do have a couple of members on our Patreon channel who do 360 videos with their drones. Very cool stuff. Also, import 3D models. So this is one of the things that really caught my attention with 3D Vista, is the fact that we can import some of our modeling from, let's say, WebODM or Metashape or other platforms where we can export a model. 3D Vista does allow for the import of 3D modeling as well. So we will be doing that down the road. That is definitely one of the higher end features. So what I'd like to start with today, just to give you a flavor for this, is import a panorama. And there are several options for the panoramas. This is where things start getting really cool. As you start digging into it, you'll notice that the menu bar up top changes as we go through each of these selections. So there's a lot of tools buried in here. It looks like a very simple, small tour generator, but as you dive into it, you quickly find out there are a lot of additional tools. So you can do a standard panorama. So let's say we went out in the field, we did a shoot, and we utilized our Theta Z1. Or in the case of what we did recently, went out, did a shoot using the Mavic 3 Enterprise and its pano mode. So we can take a standard pano generated by the Theta Z1 or the Mavic 3E, and we can just quickly import those. The next one that is interesting to me is live pano. Select a group of panoramas taken at different times to create an animation of time fading panoramas. So you go out to your client location, you shoot in the morning, you shoot in the afternoon, you shoot in the evening, and you can blend these together in your pano. Especially, you're going to need to make sure that you're at the location you were at last time. So you're going to need to mark some of these waypoints for yourself. But you can create these really cool time-lapse panos that could represent a single property, an entire construction site, or something in between. So live pano sounds really cool to me. The next one is adaptive HDR. So you can select an HDR that you created with their Stitcher application. So 3D Vista does have its own Stitcher, but you can still use other Stitchers like PT GUI or Ricoh's Stitcher as well. Or even stitching in Lightroom. But the adaptive HDR will take all the layers that you put into your HDR pano, and it will allow things to change as you're moving through the presentation. So what that means is those darker areas that might have dropped into shadow, even with an HDR, we might get to pull some more out of them. So this is going to be a higher complexity one, and we will be talking about it down the road. And then they can also do stereo panoramas, doing a left and right side as one of their examples. We're going to stay away from that one for now, because that's not something really that our clients are needing from us at the moment. we're going to go to the most simple one, which is the standard panorama. And I already have some panos set up for us from a recent shoot over at our project site. So I'm just going to pick 4 of these images. So these images were shot with the Mavic 3 Enterprise. They were lightly edited in Lightroom, and there's still, there's some extremes when we get to the edges, both on overexposure and underexposure. And we could do a little more editing, but this is just a demo series of images specifically for doing this video here today. I'm going to go ahead and open this now. And so now we're loading this media player. And so it's just getting those 4 images. And it usually does take a moment. It is, once again, a desktop application. So we're not depending on anything on the cloud. We're doing everything on the desktop, and then we can send things to the cloud later or to our other presentation formats. So right now, up on the top, we are in our project. So we just created a new project. I'm not hitting save or anything yet. And we can also go over to our tours. So if we have multiple tours, we can view them there. We can change the skins that we saw. So if I click onto that, you'll see we could change the skin. And over on the right-hand side, we have some options for changing the skin. We also have a bunch of tools for changing the skin. So we could make our logos and labels. We could make our clients' logos and labels. You get the idea. All right, into the panos now. So here we go. These are the pano images that we just pulled up. And under panos, we have our list view settings. We can create hotspots, autopilot for maneuvering around the 360s. We can add audio enhance. We can do FX, and we can do the caps for our tripods or monopods being on the ground. You'll also notice that we can do photos, videos, 360 videos, 3D applications, floor plans, audio, and then back to our project. Most people, if you're just trying this out for the first time, are probably going to stick to the panos and just practice how to use the panos. By the way, once again, we don't work for them. We're not a reseller for them or anything, but you can download a 30-day free, is it a 14-day or 30-day free trial? I can't remember. You can download a multi-day free trial where you get to try all of the features of 3D Vista, and none of the features are taken away, but they do have watermarks on everything. So you won't generate anything really pretty looking because you're going to have those watermarks everywhere, but you can experiment with all of these features. Now, in the case of this one, what I would like to do is select them, and I want to go to hotspots because I want to dive right in here. And they do have some little video tutorials now and again for some of their features, not all of the features. There is also a video tutorial series that's over the span of years from 3D Vista. You can check those out. But a lot of their new features integrating with the old features, we're not finding some information on that. So we will be doing some video tutorials on all of the features in 3D Vista. But here I am, I've got myself in my panoramas. Let's go to panorama number 1. One of the other things I do advise whenever you're doing panoramas is that you use logical names for your panos so you know where they're supposed to be placed when you come back to the office and start placing them. So we had drone panos 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've got those labeled, and those labels are good enough for me at the moment. We are currently looking at pano number 1, and pano number 2 is actually off to this side here, and I would like to make a quick link to it. All I have to do here is grab and drag pano number 2, and I'm going to drag it into the area that I'd like to have it. 2 things here. So we can create a return hotspot to the previous image. That's great. That's going to cut down on time for you. And so you can unclick it if you don't want to use that. And then we can also pick the type of hotspot that we'd like to use. I'm going to zoom out here, and I'm going to click that hotspot, and we're just going to go down. By the way, they do offer a lot of hotspots. There are animated hotspots. You can make your own hotspots and pull those in as well, but we're just going to do a simple blue arrow, and that's going to put us into pano 2 here. If I want to return, you'll notice, so we're in pano 2, but if I zoom in here, I have this weird little blue dot with a dashed line. Looks like it's all along the horizon. And this is going to be where our return is. So I'm just dragging that over, and I'm putting it along this roadway because that's approximately where we were standing. So once I have that in place, I'm going to click the Add button. And remember, we're still in pano number 1. Hello there, pano number 1. And this button is going to lead to pano number 2. Now, if I click on this button, it actually brings me to some of my hotspot tools up in the upper right-hand corner. And there are a lot of hotspot tools. And as we get deeper into this in actual long tutorials, we'll go through this a little slower. This is not a full tutorial. I'm giving you an overview here of some of the tools in 3D Vista, and also giving you some ideas of why we've chosen to try it out and to actually spend the $500 on it. We would like to add more advanced presentations for our clients. Our clients are extremely happy with the presentations we give them today, especially with their customized web pages. But utilizing a tool like this can really take it to another level for your clients, especially if you're doing big job sites with lots of changes over a long period of time. We really want this to pop, to give them the feeling of those changes over time. So we're looking over at pano number 2, but I'm not clicking this or anything. It does say up here, let's look, the hotspot link is to, there I go, panos-2. Now at this point, I could go down and hit the preview button right here. And the preview button will actually give us a preview of our virtual tour walkthrough. But what I'd like to do, I'm just going to click to pano number 2. So here we are at pano number 2. And on pano number 2, if I turn this way, remember we made that other blue dot? Yeah, there it is. So I'm going to move that down just a bit. And looking at pano number 2, that button, it tells me go to pano number 1. So once again, this is why I'd like to label and name these things very well. I'm going to click out of there. And what we're going to do next is we're going to make a pano number 3 right here. So I've got pano 3 over here on the left bar, and I'm going to just drag that right about here. I kept these panos a little too close together for the presentation, so I'm sorry we don't do a big amount of distance here. I really should have done that. But what I'm going to do here is create this button right in here, and also that's going to create a return hotspot again, so that's excellent. So there we go. We've got the, we're looking down that way. And there is our return hotspot generator again. And we want that behind us, so I'm going to be dragging this almost all the way over. And we will hit the Add button. So now we've got our button to pano 3 right here. And let's go ahead over to pano 3 because we should have put, aha, and there it is, the link back to pano 2. All right, maybe I want to drop this down just a little bit. So we have the link to pano 2, and pano 2 links to pano 3, and we are currently in pano 3, and what I would like to do now is add our pano 4 link in here. So I'm moving maybe a little too fast. You can pause this and rewatch it. Once again, not a full tutorial, folks, but I just wanted to give you the feel for making a simple pano. Most likely, if you're looking at this video, you've made panos elsewhere as well. So now I'm going to have that pano 3. And so when we get to the pano 3, I would actually like that. Let's move this over here. I like that above one of, whoops, I grabbed it and dropped it. Right about here above that little area between the first house and second house, because that's how close it was. I'm going to hit the Add button now. So there we go. We've got pano 3 or pano 4 that we're pointing to, and pano 2. And let's go ahead over into pano 4 now. So here we are in pano 4, and if we look over here, that's going back to pano 3, and maybe I want to move that down just a bit, right about there. You'll also notice that the arrow does move around and conform to the rotation of the screen, and you can do that with all of the different ones. So now we're into pano 4, and we could start making toward pano 5, or we can take from pano 4, I would like to go back to pano 1, so we can do that full loop around there. And let's see here. So where would I like to put this? The return is actually going to be, let's leave this one right here, and we can fuss with it after. So there we go. Now we've got our pano 1. So the whole tour has come together pretty quickly. So here's from pano 1, and this is going back to the Pano 3. So there it is. I'm going to put that right about there to Pano 3. And just to make sure, or I'm sorry, Pano 4, it's Pano 4. And so now we've got links to Pano 2 and Pano 4 from Pano 1. Pretty cool. So let's go ahead and I'm going to go back up to the top here. And one of the things I can do now is we're going to, on the lower right corner, you can see the button called Preview. Let's go ahead and hit the previewer. Now, once again, this is going to take a moment. This is running on your desktop. So we're not using cloud-based resources. We're using desktop resources. That means on a slower machine, things have the potential to be slower on here. However, we do have Jody working on an iMac M1 with only 8 gigs of RAM, and she's easily maneuvering this. Now, the other thing I want you to take note of is that it's doing an automatic turn. So that's their autopilot. You can turn autopilot off if it's annoying to you, or you can click and grab for a moment, look around the screen area. So we do see that this one is going out to Pano 4. This one is going over to Pano 2. And right now it has the Pano 2 view facing in the same direction when we went from Pano 1 to Pano 2. We could leave this in here, or we could lock the Pano into another location. Maybe we want the Pano to start pointing down that way right away. We could do that too. We're not going to do that right now because, once again, quick presentation, not a full tutorial. All right, so now I'm in Pano 3, and if I look here, there's the link to Pano 4, and I can put text labels, by the way. And there is the link back to Pano 2. So we're making our way around that Pano. Of course, we can zoom in and out like other applications. These first 2 homes are fully furnished, and they're the model homes, and we could actually put links in to other media players, video for each home, stills for each home. You get the idea. All right. I'm going to click back to Pano 4, and it's got us in the direction of that hill that was off to the side. So I might want to lock things in place because maybe I don't want people flying into a hillside. Maybe that'll be disconcerting to them. And if I look back over here, here's our fix back to Pano 1 and the overall location. Now, we're actually doing a full Pano series of this whole area to show off phases 1, 2, and 3 for this particular job site. So we will be doing Panos down on the lower loops as well. And we're actually setting up a waypoint system for ourselves so that we can keep it consistent on every one of these. This has been a recent request from the clients as they're getting ready to get into phase 2 and phase 3, that they would like to show additional presentations beyond the video and the stills, and the 360s really fit the bill for this. All right, so that's our tour viewer. I'm just going to close that window out. And basically, we have created a tour for ourselves already. Now, I can add photos to this. I can add videos to this. So we do have a lot of additional options. And we can also make some unique hotspots. So I'm just going to click. Let's go back over to 3. Okay. So we are now at Pano 3, and we've got that arrow there. But let's say that we wanted to put a slideshow inside of one of the homes, and we'd like it linkable. Well, we're still under hotspots up here, and I am going to click on the polygon tool. And what I can do with the polygon tool is let's make the front of this house our hotspot, okay? Just for fun. You know, I wouldn't actually make it like this for a client because we're going to go over the top with this. We're going to make this a little obnoxious even. There we go. Now we've got that highlighted. This is a hotspot, and we can actually link something. We can link that hotspot to something. First thing that I want to do looking at this polygon is let's make it even more obnoxious so it's really noticeable to us. And we could, of course, drop the opacity on this, you know, change the colors and make it blend better if we want to. So now we have this hotspot. And what I'm going to do next, I want to put a photo album into it. So I'm going to photos. Right now, I don't have an album, but I was already prepared for doing this video for you. So where is generic export? There it is. And I'm just going to pick 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll pick 5 images for this particular album. So we're loading it, and it does take a moment. Like I said, desktop application, going to depend on your machine. Now we've got this new album. So this is really cool. and we can utilize this album in our panorama. So I'm going to go back to the panoramas, and I am going to go to pano number 3. And actually, let's see, I'll go back to the hotspots to show them all. Let's close that, and let's go back to pano 3. And as we recall, there is that polygon link. And so over here on the right hand side again, we've got the arrows and we've got the polygon right here. So I would like to do something with the polygon, and what we can do, we've got an actions right here. So we've got an action for the polygon. So I'm going to click that. And we can do all these things here. So we can open a panorama, open an album, open a video, 360 video, audio, models, social media sharing. There are a bunch of things that we can do here. What I would like to do is a pop-up image. So let's do the pop-up image. Oh, I don't want to do that one. I'm sorry. I think I want to do the pop-up media. There we go. Pop-up media offers several things. So a pop-up panorama, a pop-up album, a pop-up video. Let's go with pop-up album. And there we go. We had just made this album a moment ago. And we're going to go ahead and hit select on this. We can do additional settings here. Once again, not a full tutorial, so we're just going to go with the basics and say done to that. So now we have a polygon that is clickable, and that will bring us inside the house. It could even bring us inside a virtual tour walkthrough from the inside of this house. So we could take this angle and link ourselves in to additional walkthroughs. So another whole project inside the house. Awesome. All right, let's take a look at this and use the preview again. And we're coming up on the end of this one, but I just wanted to show you these things, and then I wanted to show you some export options as well. So here we go. Here's the tour launcher once again. So this is our preview. All right, this looks good. And let's go to number 4, and then we'll bring ourselves back to 3 that way. And there's 2, and there is our polygon. And if I click on the polygon, oh my goodness, it brings us into a pop-out album. So this album is just, just a slow showcase of some of the interior shots that we did on these months ago. But as you can see, we've got this presentation on the interior. Now, think way back to the City of Prescott Route 89 thing. I could have this album not moving, and I could put link buttons throughout here for pop-up information about the home, pop-up information about the construction. I could have a hotspot on this Solstice Ridge block here showing the phase 1 build and then showing phase 2. So this is where we can get some of those cool stylized presentations. And now we've got 360 panoramas that play videos, audio, pop-up videos, pop-up stills, and other features as well. So we can get really stylized with this. Now, before I let you go, we're going to close out of the tour viewer, because let's pretend that we're kind of complete with this tour and we'd like to share it with the world. Well, down on the lower right hand side, we've got a publish button again. So I'm going to click the publish button because it gives me a lot of options. So we can, in fact, upload to the cloud. So we do have a 3-month free trial of the cloud upload. So we'll be doing some test demo videos on uploading to the cloud, and that's 3DVista's cloud. We can actually export to web and mobile. So I could take an export from this and put that export directly into one of my websites. So I could use my website, maybe that See My Build website, as the hosting platform for the tour. So not using the cloud anymore. But here's where we're going to need to know how much drive space, storage space do I have with my web hosting company? How much bandwidth am I allowed to use each month? So we can get it on the web without paying for the cloud service. We can also, I'm going to unclick this one, do a standalone player. So we can create an exportable standalone player. So I can give my client a thumb drive and they can open their tour up in Windows or on Mac. So, and as we can see, you can barely make it out down here. Here's the Windows button checked off and the Apple button checked off. And we can also apply compression with Windows, which I do recommend. I've tested this for a bit, and otherwise it gets really big with Windows really fast. We can also use 3DVista VR apps, and we can also upload these to the Google Street View as well. So you can publish to a variety of locations, and now you've got some new options for sharing with your clients as well. So maybe some of our clients want that desktop presentation and don't want something up on the cloud. We can provide that now for them. So this is pretty slick. And I'm going to actually close out of this and show you one more thing. So Jody did a demo the other day, and let me see, I believe it's this one. Yes, it is. So Jody did an export for me of another one of the locations that we've been working on, and that export was for the Macintosh. So we've got an app, we've got data, and then we've got an open tour command. I'm just going to open the app really quick, and we're just waiting for that app to pop up. It does take a moment usually, and we didn't have the export for the Windows, but we're not working on Windows right now. Anyways, it brings me, this screen says drag and drop your virtual tour folder. So I'm going to go grab that data, and I'm going to drag that data right in. And let's see, so this is something that was given to me on the thumb drive from Jody, and then I could pop it in and actually watch it. So there we go. We have the start of a 3D virtual tour that's running off of my desktop app that was exported from 3DVista. We're going to go inside this house, and those windows are blown out. We were just doing some testing, but one of the other interesting things that we did is the side-by-side panos, where we can do before and after panos. If I click onto this, here's the structure months ago before it was filled out, and 3DVista did a decent job of aligning the finished interior with the unfinished interior. It's a little off, but with a little bit of tweaking, this can actually be corrected pretty easily. When I'm done seeing this, I can go ahead and X out of it, back to the main interactive area. But we can go next. We did one into the bedroom, the master bedroom. And once again, we can do that before and after. So if you're tracking and monitoring a client location with a drone or doing interior 360s, you can actually do these types of before and afters. Remember also, we were talking about that sunrise to sunset as well. That would require you to be standing or flying in the same areas again to produce this kind of cool presentation. Finally, Jody also used one of the polygon hotspots to get us into the bathroom. And in the bathroom, we also had that interactive alignment as well. So before the closet was finished out and when the closet was finished out. So if you're doing longer term projects, this might be something of great interest to you. So we're going to go ahead and close out of that. And we're getting out of that virtual tour viewer that came with the export. So like I said, we have multiple ways to export. We have multiple ways to present. And we're just scratching the surface of a simple 360 pano tour. Now, I would like to ask those of you who've made it to the end, if you are interested in this content, please let me know down in the comments below to let me know if this is a good series for YouTube for you, or if doing these full walkthroughs is of no interest and maybe the price is off-putting as well. Once again, like I said, they do have a free trial. You can go check it out. And this goes beyond 360 tours. We're getting into 3D imaging. We're getting into the video integration. We're getting into audio integration. You can really put some amazing presentations together for your clients or for your own website to demonstrate all of the tools that you're familiar with for potential clients as well. All right, everybody, with all that, I'm going to let you just think about this for a little bit. Please, down in the comments below, let me know if this content is interesting to you and if you'd like to see a full tutorial series where we build some slick presentations like what we saw with that City of Prescott presentation at the beginning of this. All right, everyone, as always, I really do appreciate you coming by, spending some time here, and I hope that you find our content valuable. And like I said, if you have other suggestions for the channel as well, put them down in the comments below. We're always happy to get suggestions and show ideas from you. See you again real soon, everybody.